Alrighty, welcome to the broadcast of Unleash Independence. Today we have a special guest. We have Christina. She is actually, I saw a little meme that was created on Facebook talking about how she had a tumor, or she has a tumor, and it's been shrinking over time using what it said was hemp oil. And then I clicked on the video and saw what she had to say, and it's really fascinating. So, Christina, thanks for coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. So tell them a little bit about your process of you're telling me a little about before we started this was about how you came to understand that you had a tumor and kind of what the doctors kind of talked to you about.
Yeah, I was just getting a pedicure and I blacked out and went to the emergency room and eventually they gave me a CT scan after a bunch of other scans and they were like, "Oh, you have a really big brain tumor." And I was just like, "What?" And I cried and was really upset and I was scared and they were like, "Well, we have to cut you open right now and take your tumor out as soon as we can." And so I had my brain surgery 5 days after I was diagnosed. So it was like a blink of an eye. And then after that, they were like, "Oh, it's inoperable, so there's nothing we can do for you." And they said radiation might buy me more time, it might not, but either way, I wouldn't see my 30th birthday. So that was the prognosis for me.
Oh, wow. And so how old are you now? So when they told you that, how old were you at that time?
I was 24 and I am 24 now. So well, actually, I guess I was 23. I turned 24 a couple months after I was diagnosed. So it was May 2012 I was diagnosed. So
So they were telling you you had just about like 6 or 7 years and it would just slowly get worse is what their diagnosis was.
yeah, they said the pressure would eventually either bust out my eye sockets or the base of my skull and sever my spinal cord. So, ugh.
Gosh. Just you love
Say,
that. You love that from doctors. Just say, give
I
up.
know. Just straight up, like, this is what's going to happen. No sugarcoating. You're like, oh, that's horrible. I actually have died before. About 5 years ago, my appendix ruptured and shut down my kidneys, intestines, stomach, collapsed both my lungs, and sepsis of the blood. And I were like, you're going to die. And I was just like, no, that's your opinion. And it was like a long, hard fight. I was in the hospital for a month and a half, had to learn to breathe again and everything, but I did it. And that's kind of the attitude I took this time was like, no, you guys have been wrong before and you're wrong now.
Awesome. I didn't know that. That's incredible. So you said that was 5 years ago when you had that when your appendix exploded.
Yeah, so I was 19. Yeah.
Wow. So you've gone through a rocky battle, but it's just
Yeah.
you had great inspiration for all these things
Thank
you've gone
you.
through. And you, rather than giving up and just saying, "Oh, poor me," you took control of your life. That's awesome.
Exactly. I mean, it's no one's job to save me but me. So, yeah.
Awesome. So take us along this path of what you, or sort of your first diagnosis of this was, you said May of last year?
Yeah, May last year.
Okay. And then, so when did you start using the hemp oil? When did you decide to make that decision?
So, a week after my brain surgery, basically, they had had me on a bunch of medications, steroids, Keppra, which was an anti-epileptic, and, a ton of other pain pills and all that stuff. And I was just felt like crap, didn't want to take it. The steroids made me gain like 40 pounds. I couldn't put the ice cream down, which isn't good because that's bad for cancer because it feeds it. So, either way, they were killing me slowly, whether they wanted to or not. And so I was like, I'm going to start taking this hemp oil instead because it was supposed to, the high amounts of CBD were supposed to help control the seizures too, because I was having about 20 plus seizures a day. They were petite malls, so I would have absent stares and couldn't form sentences, and sometimes I'd twitch, but not very often. But Yeah, so, and then on the Keppra, I was having like 20 again anyways, and I was vomiting and losing weight, and it was bad, bad, bad. And so I started taking that, seizures stopped, pain went away, didn't have to take my pain pills or anything, and was eventually on no medication and just on the hemp oil. And I feel fine. I used to, before my brain surgery, I was taking, the max I could of ibuprofen or naproxen or whatever because I would have such bad headaches because of the pressure. And now it's just gone. It doesn't hurt anymore or anything. I don't have to take any pain pills. I mean, I take the hemp oil and stuff, and I smoke for the epilepsy and stuff, but that's okay.
That's awesome. So how long were you on your pain pills before you had to get off? You were able to get off them with the hemp?
Oh, after my brain surgery, only about 3 weeks before didn't have to take any, and I was only taking the hemp oil. But the problem there, I started getting really sick because the hemp oil counteracts any bad stuff in your body, aka all the drugs that I was taking, and so it made me really sick. And so it took us a while to realize what was happening, and so then I stopped taking the Keppra, and then I started feeling better after that. Like I wasn't having headaches or anything, but I was just vomiting a lot and
So
really sick.
you were thinking like the hemp oil was like pushing that stuff out of your body almost like.
It totally was because now I take the same amounts of hemp oil that I've always taken, and I take it just fine, and I'm not sick at all because I'm completely detoxed because I had a lot of bad stuff to get out of me.
Awesome. So you have you ever had to increase your dosages of the hemp oil, like, or have you stayed steady so your body's not becoming like immune to it or anything?
Well, you definitely get used to it because when I first started taking it, I would take just a grain of rice dosage, just a sliver, and that would just mess you up forever. And now I can take a whole gram, which is a lot, and I don't even get baked. So now I try to take more, but it's hard because I don't want to ever run out. So you can't take too much because it takes a lot to make just a little bit of the hemp oil. And so it's hard to come by. And if I run out, I could have a grand mal seizure from withdrawals from the CBD. So that could happen. So I have to be careful of how much I take. I would be taking more if I could, for sure, to get rid of this because the spider will not get out of my head. But it's getting there slowly.
Awesome. So so what is I guess how long ago did you start to see your tumor start to shrink? And how the doctor said how much does it shrink? And I know they're not admitting things totally, but what's the process of you finding out that your tumor's shrinking?
Well, the MRIs, they wouldn't originally show us the MRI images. They would just read the notes from the MRI technicians who are the ones who actually translate the images. The oncologists actually don't even know how to read the images. And so we asked to see the images because the notes said that it looked the same and that it was the same. And this was 3 months after my surgery, and I had been taking the hemp oil. The dosage was you were supposed to take 60 grams in a 90-day period, was supposed to get rid of any cancer you have. But I have a really stubborn type of tumor that is really aggressive. So I wasn't surprised that it would take more. But anyway, so I wanted to see the images because I didn't want to believe that it was still the same. And then she pulled up the images, and it was very different. And she was just like, wow, why did they say that that looks the same? And then we were like, I don't know, why would they say that? And then she looked at me and asked, what was I doing to treat myself? And I said, the hemp oil. And she was just like, weed is bad. You can't do that. You should do radiation. And I was just like, no, I'm not going to do radiation. This is working. Why would I do that? And then, anyways, I snapped some pictures of the images before she pulled them down. So that was how I got pictures of them at all. And yeah, so that's how I get the MRI images. I have her pull them up, snap a picture so we can see it because she's as baffled as we are, but she doesn't understand why they say it's the same. And then in my most recent MRI, which was in December, they said that the middle of the tumor is dying, but they said that's a characteristic of a tumor that is really aggressive and growing really big, but mine hasn't changed in size, but now the middle is dying and they don't know why, but I know why, so.
So cool. So
Sorry, I feel like it's a long story.
no, it's good information. I'm loving what we're hearing and learning and stuff. So also, so you take it orally, just in your mouth?
Yeah, I put it underneath my tongue to absorb into my bloodstream as quick as possible. So that is definitely, I used to just swallow it, but I didn't feel like it was getting to where it needed to, per se, if I just swallowed it. So I wanted it to kind of soak in a little, even though it tastes heinous. It's like licking the inside of a bong, but I mean, if it's saving your life, then it's saving your life.
Well, that's good to know.
It's horrible, but it's okay.
It's dirty.
Yeah,
Well, it's if it's working, it's working. It just medicine sometimes doesn't taste the best.
exactly.
So, if someone's out there and they're going, okay, like the other day I was telling somebody I drink alkaline water and I'm telling them how good it's making me feel, and then they just like, well, I'm sure it's just placebo effect. What would you say to people who might be saying, well, that might be just placebo? So you shouldn't be recommending anybody look at this.
Are you talking about like the Kangen water
Yeah,
stuff?
that stuff. Yeah,
That stuff's awesome. If people
yeah.
think placebo, they're ridiculous. That's just miracle water. But yeah, if they were saying that, I guess I would say if it's making my tumor smaller, then I have the power in my brain to do that, then right on.
Placebo effect is still a cure, right?
Exactly. I do believe that your words are very powerful, and that's why I believe that it's very important to stay positive. And that's why I try to not say that I have cancer, that I have a brain tumor, or anything like that. It's because I believe that your mind is a powerful thing and you can manifest whatever you want. And if it's a brain tumor, that's what happens.
Well,
I
yeah,
remember for the longest time, I was like, God, it's probably just a brain tumor whenever I'd mess up. And then guess what? I have a freaking brain tumor.
you think you've won the award for the happiest person with the brain tumor. I think you'll be totally fine. So where does everybody go to find out how to do what you're doing? How do they figure out how to make it? Or most people think that you probably can buy it, but that's probably not likely.
Yeah, you can't buy it online. I have a lot of people being like, "Oh, can I buy it on Amazon?" It's like, "Oh no, you can't buy it on Amazon." You can get it from dispensaries if you can get them in your area. I know a lot of areas don't have dispensaries, and even then, you don't know the quality you're getting. So the best bet is to make it yourself, which is risky because, some people don't have a very ventilated area because it is hard. And I'm working on doing a video on us making a batch of oil so people can see how you do it. But it's pretty easy as long as you're in a really well ventilated area because you have to use alcohol to break down the weed to extract the CBD and the THC and all that to get it in the extra concentrated form. So it's kind of hard. It's a chemistry project, but it's definitely one worth looking into. There's tons of videos online that people can look at now that show you how to make the oil. So, I mean, you don't have
Awesome.
to come to me. I mean, there's tons all over the internet.
Well, cool. So you're saying just search it on YouTube.
Yeah, totally. So, as long as you can get your hand on some weed, and I know everyone knows someone who knows someone who knows someone who has some weed. So, you just gotta want it.
Gotcha. Cool, cool. Well, that's great information. I'm going to actually research that. I mean, I don't have a cancer or brain tumor, but it's really I really appreciate that you're getting this out there rather than just learning it and fixing it yourself. You're actually like sharing your story, and I think as this process goes on, to keep us informed on everything you're doing.
Totally.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Christina, for coming on. And where can they find your YouTube channel at?
Um, Crap, I don't know. If you, I'm so bad at finding where those links are. I think you just type in Christina Marie, you can find all of them because I put that as a tag in all of them. So.
We'll put an annotation up here in the video, and then I'll also link it down below so people can find you.
Thank you.
But that just shows the innocence of what you're doing. That's awesome.
Exactly. It took me forever to figure out to upload my first video, so you guys are lucky I'm even getting this out there. It took me forever to figure it out.
Good stuff.
So sorry.
No, it's good. Awesome, awesome. All right. Well, thanks again, Christina, and thanks for coming on.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right. Remember, everybody, own your life the way Christina does, and own your health.
Yes.
UnleashIndependence.com